Hello, bonjour, marhaba, and welcome to the Innovation Bazaar at SwitchMed Barcelona 2018. We're going to be doing most of this in English. My name is Nick Spicer. However, nous allons parfois parler français.
Hello, I am the other moderator, Amy Seraphin. Nick and I are working in two separate rooms, but wherever you are, you can see us on the video screens or around the world on the internet.
Yeah, this is not going to be your usual kind of meeting of ecologically minded entrepreneurs. The last thing we want you to do is to sort of sit at your table and politely listen or even look at your email. We want you to, if you don't mind, please feel free to stand up, walk around, buy and sell your best experiences, your stories of challenges met and overcome. The only thing we ask, if you don't mind, is that you please go back to your tables where your posters are so that when it comes to tell your story, you can. Now, in terms of the bigger story of SwitchMed, we're about to watch a little video which explains an overview, if you will, a story that you're all a part of. And then after that, we're going to talk to the woman who has made it all work.
The southern Mediterranean region is in great demand for natural resources, such as raw materials, energy, and water. For the industrial sector, this translates to increased production costs, which hampers competitiveness and places a burden on the environment.
Le concept de consommation et de production durable est important dans la mesure où on ne peut plus continuer à utiliser les ressources comme avant.
Delivering actually a planet good enough for our children is our responsibility.
To further resource-efficient and cleaner production, industries have been assisted by the UNIDO METES2 project, which is part of the EU-funded SwitchMed program, implemented in Algeria, Egypt, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Morocco, Palestine, and Tunisia.
Resource efficiency is an essential tool that can be used by industries in the Southern Mediterranean region to move towards greener and circular business model. But it's not only about preserving natural capital for future generations. It's about securing the supply of raw material, of energy and water in order to be able to produce at competitive price level. The UNIDO test methodology has been designed to help industries to see how much savings can be done by using less resources.
Using the test approach, 125 companies have taken a step towards a more resource-efficient production. These companies have identified thousands of improvement measures and annually saved significant amounts of water, energy, and raw materials. This amounts to millions of euros in annual savings and tons of CO2 reductions.
We are present in the international market, which requires competitiveness and the quality products. So in order to meet these requirements, we are committed to a strategy of the cost control and cost reduction. This is why we joined METES2. For example, we've been able to reduce water consumption by 80% and energy consumption by 30%.
For any business, there are always drivers for cost. And the MedTest program drives efficiency on costs.
وفعلا بدأنا تعاون مع مشروع الميدتست 2 وقدرنا نحقق بسنتين ما كنا نحلم فيه ب10 سنين.
Je conseille vivement les autres entreprises à participer à ce programme qui nous a permis non seulement en fait, d'améliorer pas mal d'aspects au sein de l'entreprise, mais aussi de préserver notre environnement. But not only the companies benefit from introducing more sustainable production methods. The community and its people are also gaining through the availability of saved resources and job creation.
By saving energy and water, we contribute our community to use this energy and water in other fields.
The numbers that we save, they're a big benefit, but they're a one-time shot. We've hired two industrial engineers, and we've split up the work between them to own this ongoing development and to keep working on it to make sure this is a continuing process in our company.
The METES2 project has directly impacted thousands of jobs in the demonstration companies. By adopting resource-efficient and cleaner production methods and becoming more competitive,
industries are in a better position not only to expand their activities and retain their existing labor force, but also to create new job opportunities.
Nous sommes très contents avec les résultats. Et des entreprises qui ont participé, ils ont profité de l'expertise. Et je crois que ça, c'est quelque chose qui est important pour nous. C'est un partenariat qui est important pour nous. On va certainement continuer dans ce sens-là.
And we have with us now somebody we just saw in that video and someone many of you may know already. It's Roberta De Palma, who is the Chief Technical Advisor of UNIDO's MedTest programs, both 1 and 2. As we heard, they promoted sustainable manufacturing in some 200 industries, and she's helped bring up the level of performance of some 50 regional advisors in North Africa, in the Middle East region. Roberta, thank you for being here and for what you've done. Can you tell us, when you started doing all this, did you have any idea that it would become this big?
Well, I remember when we started the program and my colleague from UNIDO told me, well, good luck. And that was a little bit sarcastic. But we all knew from the very beginning that this journey was not going to be an easy one, especially considering all the changes that were occurring at both a political and economical level at that time. And we came across a lot of difficulties. I can make a long list of challenges we had to put in place just for, addressing some of the main concerns and setting up the infrastructure of the project. But above all, we were not at all sure what the response of the industry would be, if they were going to join us or not. And this for us was the most important challenge we had to face, and we have spent enormous amount of energy and resources to convince them to join. And I still remember once when I entered one of the company at the beginning of the project, and they were really one of the biggest players in Egypt in the food and beverage, and they were really very reluctant to show and to share with us any data regarding their performance. And they even gave us some wrong data at the beginning. And I guess the reason was that they really had very little trust that this project could bring them any benefit. And I believe that we had to find the solutions for how to move forwards, and we were in a way lucky that we could bring on board an expert that was already known by the management. And this really helped us to enter the company and to help them to save a lot of resources in different processes. And then I met the company at the end of the project, and then they told me that they started a new initiative on water efficiency, and they simply asked me when we were going to have the next project because they wanted to join us. So they are now really one of our champions and true believer of resource efficiency. And I believe this is really what is amazing for us, this kind of shift in the mindset of companies.
So it's an idea that people are accepting more readily now, it would seem. Why the Mediterranean? Why did you start there?
Well, I am Italian. I'm from the southern part of Italy. So this is the region where I grew up. And I believe it's a very beautiful region, and we all know that. And I believe it's our responsibility to preserve it for the future generation. But we don't share only environment in the good sense. We also share the challenge that are related to pollution and to climate change. And pollution does not have any boundaries, so we have to solve these problems collectively. And if we look about this region, this has been always a region very full of exchange and relationship between countries. But today, what we see is that there is a very big difference between the north and the south in terms of economic development. And I believe it's a good neighborhood policy or approach to help each other to commonly take advantage of the many opportunities that the region can provide. And the SwitchMed program, I believe, was very successful in demonstrating that there are plenty of green business opportunities and technological cooperation between industries of the northern and the southern shores of the Mediterranean, from which we can all profit for the sake of stability and prosperity for all.
Just zooming out a little bit away from the Mediterranean, last month the IPCC, the panel on climate change, says basically humanity has 12 years before catastrophe. So what are the next steps? What are you planning?
Well, this is very true, and it's becoming really serious and a really very big challenge. And even though a half a degree, increase in global temperature may not sound a lot, this will translate in thousands of millions of people to be exposed to severe climate conditions. And the Mediterranean is particularly sensitive in the sense that we will all be facing an increase in dryness and a drop in water availability by 10%. Through the MedTest program within the SwitchMed, we have demonstrated that industry can save on average at least 20% on their water consumption and 24% on their energy bill and CO2 emissions. So I believe that if we translate this into numbers, if we imagine that every and each industry in this region would implement resource efficiency, this would translate in an enormous amount of water and energy that can be used for other segments of the economy. It could be used for supplying domestic water for inhabitants of cities and for providing electricity to many and many millions of inhabitants. And as UNIDO, I believe we have the plan to continue to help governments and industry to step up and implement resource efficiency for the benefits of their own countries.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That was Roberta De Palma, of course, technical advisor at UNIDO. Now, we have some 20 companies here, and we want to talk to all of you. My colleague, Amy Serafin, in the other room, somehow managed to get her hands on all the food-related ones. So we'll begin with her. Amy, what do you have for us?
Yes, Nick, so I'm here with the food. Sorry, that's just the way the cookie crumbled. I'll let you know what's on my menu. We're going to be talking to Abco from Tunisia. They're a fish cannery, and they have discovered an energy-efficient way to thaw frozen sardines. It's very cool. The food company Jordan Valley, which you see on my left, is famous for hummus. They learned that improving the company's steam system would help to keep business humming. Also in Jordan, the Farm Dairy is a cheesemaker putting an end to spilt milk. We've got a date with Algeria's Boukalal, who have found a way to process dates using less water. Also in Algeria, Jipat is a maker of couscous and pasta. They're using software to improve resource efficiency. We'll meet Egypt's Farm Frites, who make French fries. They're practicing resource efficiency because they don't want to get burned by rising inflation. Also from Egypt, we will learn how a product environmental footprint audit can help a leather company to get some skin into the export game. From Lebanon, the Melco Group makes baked goods. By avoiding nearly 500 tons of product waste, they're making more dough. In the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon, a wine-growing cooperative popped the cork on an environmental audit of a 2014 vintage. Also in Lebanon, Scaf Dairy Farm is milking everything they can out of better energy use. In Palestine, Signora is a leading maker of deli meats, making mincemeat out of product waste. And Al-Hijaz, also in Palestine, makes chocolates, and they are melting away water waste. And Nick, I will do my best to save you a few chocolates for afterwards.
Okay, well, I'm counting on that, Amy. Thank you very much. And on my end, there are some very interesting companies. We have Amma, detergent maker, which has really been cleaning up as it takes on global giants. Also from Morocco, just over here, the Peef company, just around the corner, producing textile products, including inflammable curtains. And they've seen their sales catch on fire. We have just down here, if the cameraman will follow me, New Amico, which makes jeans. And they have found, just over here actually, they have found, here we are, these two nice ladies, that the style that consumers are looking for is one that is eco-friendly. It's a good selling point. And then we move on to the leather company Noel, which is just over that little cardboard barrier, which is cutting corners, but cutting corners in a good way because they're cutting their leather with a computer in order to save on leather, to save on wastage, and doing other things to save money and be more ecological. And then just around the corner there, we have SAFE, the pharmaceutical company, which is, of course, helping save lives, but it's saving money by adopting ecological ways of producing pharmaceutical products through energy optimization. And just here, we have Maclada, which has cut its use of sulfuric acid by 200 tons. That's right, as it makes wire. And then just next to them is Egypt, the Barrique bottle-to-bottle recycler. I think they're deep in discussion right now, and they've cut their consumption of water by 88%. And then here we have Kafrit from Israel. Hello, hello. And they've cleaned up by literally cleaning up the products on the floor that could still be used to make more plastics. It was as simple as that. Of course, you've done more complicated things, and we look forward to hearing about them. And then at last, but not least, we have from Morocco, the battery recycler, Afrique Cab, which is recharging its bottom line, and there they are, with lower energy costs and the better use of raw materials. So let's dig in now, having done that little tour, Amy, and actually meet some of these people saving the planet.
Okay, so Nick, I'm here with Fawaz Shaka from the Farm Dairy in Jordan. They make cheese, and their specialty is white cheeses, such as labneh. For 3 generations, the Farm Dairy has been making top quality fresh cheese without any sorts of artificial flavors or additives. They sell it throughout the Middle East. And local test experts have helped them to identify annual savings of 230,000 euros and to reduce water use by 57%. So Fawaz, tell me first of all, with guidance from local experts, you invested €1 million into a new machine, new cheese-making machine. Why? What did it change?
Well, actually, it wasn't just buying the machine. We are the biggest artisanal cheese-making company in Jordan, and it's a family business. And the challenge was to try to scale up this artisanal cheese production from the cottage industry that it once was to something scalable that can be more efficient and still be competitive in the market. So we worked with the SwitchMed team to actually come up with, to innovate the new machine for cleaner production, for better handling, for less waste, and to be able to produce the large quantities that we want without resorting to mass production techniques and losing the value that we are giving our customer.
What were your expectations of this program, and were they satisfied?
To be honest with you, at the start I did not think it would be much. I thought maybe we'll be saving 20,000 euros a year from our electricity bill or power bill, and that's it. But the results were very surprising.
Well, what would you say to companies that don't have the money to invest in a new machine or do something so spectacular as you did?
I'll tell you what, we had many findings during our project. I know we invested 1 million euros and we ended up with 220,000 euros in savings, but there were some investments, around 1,000 euro investments, that got us back 12,000 euros a year. So there are always low-hanging fruits that you can go for, and there are a lot of added value for the business. Yeah.
And tell me a bit about your factory. How have mentalities changed among the people working with you?
To be honest, I've been always telling this to the SwitchMed team that is working with us, whether it's here or the SwitchMed team in Amman. The best thing that happened to us was the change in mentalities. I mean, I'll tell you a quick story about one of the technicians that has been working with us for 25 years when we were doing the tour with all the stakeholders. And the guy was telling me that basically my stomach can get filled very fast, but this sewer will never get full. So I thought it was blackmail at the time, but it helped us come around to a new mentality that basically this circular notion of SwitchMed can also be inside our business and basically sharing whatever savings we can do with our team. And this culture change now, I think it's something that will stay with us for a long time, and we can make great benefit off of it for years to come.
Thank you so much, Fawaz, for speaking with us. Nick, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Amy. And now to Egypt, where I'm with Sami Awad, who is the chairman of the Alexandria Company for Industrial Packages, or AKIP. And he's going to talk to us about one of the 3 companies he runs that has profited or benefited from MedTest. AKIP makes plastic closures. I think we can see some of them, the closures that go on the top of bottles as well as preforms. And with MedTest, they've saved 1.8% of energy spending, which amounts to a similar drop in CO2. CO2 is something we need a lot less of these days, of course. Sami, can you tell me a bit first about the MedTest experience at AKIP? How is it is it ongoing?
Yes, it's still very much ongoing. We've had many projects, starting from simple ones to change, for example, changing water faucets, to big projects, changing multi-million pound production lines. So it's ongoing in all companies, yeah.
And concretely in AKIP, what have you done? Just to give us an idea.
Well, we've worked on 3 different areas. One is the resource efficiency, so we've saved on electricity and compressed air utilization. And also we've been working on a project, part of the circular economy, to use recycled plastic material instead of virgin material, so as to save on the resources and have a circular economy.
And is that locally sourced?
Yes, before we've been importing the resin from outside of Egypt, but now we're working with an Egyptian company here called Barik, which is recycling the resin and giving it back to us.
Of course, we'll talk to them a little bit later too. Just quickly, you have 2 other companies, both of them using the MedTest methods. Can you give me a little survey of what you're up to there?
Sure, yeah. The 2 other companies are in plastic packaging, and you know plastic is a major area where we all need to work better on. So we've been doing a lot in energy savings as well. We've cut down electricity, for example, consumption by 30%. We've cut service water usage by about 40%. So really we've been ambitious. The project is ambitious itself, and we've been ambitious trying to get as much as we can out of resource efficiency.
So the ambitions have been rewarded largely?
Yes, yes, very much so.
Thank you very much. That was Sami Awad of AKIP. Back to you, Amy. I'm imagining you're having something tasty to talk about, as usual.
Yes, I do. I'm here with Ahmad Soudi from Jordan Valley, which is located, unsurprisingly, in Jordan. They sell around 100 food products, right? About 100? Yes. Under the Al Bayrudi name. Things like chickpeas, baba ganoush, eggplant, and their most famous product is hummus, which they sell everywhere from Kuwait to Germany to the United States, and even soon to Australia.
Yes, that's right.
Do the Australians like hummus?
Yes, everybody loves hummus, in fact.
So with MedTest, they identified 84,000 euros in annual savings and an enormous 83% in reduction in energy consumption. That's huge. So Ahmad, just tell me first of all how this experience matched up to your expectations.
Well, in fact, in the first we thought that SwitchMed people came from Mars. What's they are talking about? But after we finished the project, we noticed that it was above expectation. It exceeded our expectations, in fact. There's always something to change. There's always something to improve. We saved a lot in that.
Tell me a little bit about some of the measures you took, such as the air system, the steam system.
The steam system was an issue for us, in fact. We had some leakages in the steam pipes. The insulation was not very good, and we didn't use the concentrate in the right way. Now everything is changed. We did already a good insulation for the steam pipes, and we used the concentrate in the right way. No leakages now. For the air system, we did the same. We changed around 70% of our air network, and everything is going now fine. Although the washing system, we changed it to compressed air machines with water. That means faster washing with much better cleaning and less time, for sure, less water.
And then there was something as simple as how you stacked cans.
Well, that was an obvious one, in fact. We had the problem in bent cans, and we are used to have a specific number by the end of the day. But when SwitchMed people came, they calculated the numbers for us, and it shows that it's the number we should save, in fact. And we together sat down and we came out with a new stacking system for handling the cans, and it's doing perfect now.
It's amazing how the little things add up, huh?
Yes, yes, it Difference. There's difference.
So what's next?
Although we made almost 90% of our options, but the solar heating system is one of the best issues we have to do now. It's a priority. We need to help boilers to reduce fuel consumption.
And did you find your employees experienced a change in mindset?
In fact, yes. Mentality should be changed, and a lot of things have to be changed in the factory, because now they know that any leakages count, any savings is count, and it will be a number by the end of the year. And there's something always to improve in your company.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ahmad Soudi from the Jordan Valley. And Nick, I'm going to send it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Amy. And I'm now here with Mohamed Tahir Sassi, who is of the pharmaceutical company known as SAFE. It's a Tunisian pharma company, and as you can see behind him, some numbers relating to the success. 600 tons of medication are produced by SAFE every year, and he's managed to implement measures that cut energy consumption by 37%. On va parler français. I'll ask the question in English about MedTest. How did it help you? Comment est-ce que le kit outil de MedTest vous a aidé?
L'outil MedTest, nous avons adhéré en début 2016 et ça a cadré avec notre stratégie et notre vision de développement durable, et c'est au cœur de notre constitution tunisienne. Et en croyant que ce projet, ces outils vont nous aider, et il nous a fait découvrir des révélations intéressantes et que j'appellerais comme des antibêtises. Nous croyons auparavant que la matière première est une source principale d'économie de sortie de nos produits. En appliquant l'outil MedTest progressivement, on découvre que l'énergie, c'est le potentiel principal à 45% de sortie de nos produits.
I'm just going to translate that really rapidly and say what Mr. Sassi has been telling me is that producing in an environmentally friendly way is part of the company philosophy, part of its constitution, and they've been very mindful of it, and that energy has been a big concern in production, and equally the sourcing of primary materials. But allez-y, continuez.
Yes. Ce qui nous a amené à creuser dans l'efficacité énergétique, dans l'optimisation des conditions de climatisation des locaux, parce que nous, on œuvre dans un milieu très contrôlé et on fait des médicaments pour des êtres humains, donc on les fait dans des conditions d'humidité, de particules et dans des conditions de température très poussées, très contrôlées. Et donc l'énergie, l'efficacité énergétique commence par là. Et initialement, notre conception était un peu gâtée et on faisait pratiquement de la surdimensionnement pour être prudent. Et lorsqu'on est obligé de resserrer vers l'économie, nous avons revu les consignes vers les juste nécessaires. Donc c'est le concept de l'économie lui-même.
Okay, I'll just quickly translate. Mr. Sassi was saying that, of course, what's being produced are medications for human beings, and so the conditions have to be perfect. There's a lot of money spent on refrigeration, I think you were saying. So initially, they sort of were over-ambitious and perhaps spending too much money on that and downsized things, but managed to nonetheless be successful.
Et ce qui nous a conduit à réviser les températures de l'eau glacée et réduire d'1 degré l'eau glacée, de mettre une consigne de 8 degrés au lieu de 7, ça fait gagner 3 points sur le coefficient de performance des systèmes, donc du coup sur l'énergie. Et ça nous a fait penser également, et grâce aux échanges avec les experts MedTest, de réviser notre croyance bêtisienne que je croyais, c'est que ce n'est pas possible que le professionnel des médicaments fabrique de l'électricité avec un coût moindre que les professionnels de production d'électricité. Ça vous semble un peu absurde, non?
I'm just going to interrupt you and translate. He was saying, as part of the MedTest journey that he's been on, he came to the discovery that his company was able to produce electricity more cheaply than actual electricity companies, which he thought was quite surprising and if not ridiculous to a certain extent, which may say something about the nature of electricity provision in Tunisia. But anyway, listen, I just want a last question, if I may. You were talking about future plans Tri-generator, do you want to tell me about that?
Et ce qui nous a conduit à décider et à réaliser un système de trigénération, c'est-à-dire qu'on fabrique de l'électricité, mais en même temps on récupère du gaz de fumée des moteurs pour en faire de la vapeur, et grâce à un système magique qui s'appelle l'absorption, on en fait du froid. La magie, c'est là, on fait du froid à partir du chaud. Et c'est ce qui a fait récupérer pratiquement 90% de l'énergie jetée par le professionnel de l'électricité pour la recycler en énergie chaude et froide.
Let me just translate that and explain to people like me who don't understand what a tri-generator really does. It produces electricity. You'll correct me if I'm making mistakes. It produces heat, which is used to actually produce cold and refrigeration to a certain extent. And these are things that you need in your company. So you have one unit that is doing all of these things, and you're not wasting that heat by letting it go up into the atmosphere, for instance. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Any last question?
Yes. Pour la durabilité du projet, nous avons intégré le concept de MEDTEST MFCA dans notre ERP. Nous avons monté une direction que je supervise personnellement, c'est le Project Management, et je me concentre sur ces projets horizontaux, sur la coopération. Et nous avons profité de l'expérience des experts que j'ai remerciés et de Roberta et tous les intervenants pour passer le message à une centaine de personnes et de cadres dans l'entreprise. Donc tout le monde est sensibilisé et nous essayons d'intégrer les concepts de MEDTEST et de tout autre programme pareil dans notre organisation et notre stratégie.
Okay, quick translation, Mr. Sassi thanking MEDTEST and Roberta and saying that the ideas of MEDTEST have been integrated in the management structure of the company. They want all of the people in the company to be using these MEDTEST ideas in order to achieve more savings and I guess to make, save the environment, Let's say it as it is. All right, thank you, Mr. Sassi. That's great. It's great work. Thank you. Okay, back to you, Amy.
Hi again, Nick. I am here with Marwan El Koussa of the Malco Group in Lebanon, whose Pain d'Or breads and pastries and Fantasia salted snacks are a household name throughout the country. With the local test experts, he's been avoiding nearly 500 tons of material loss and targeting a whopping 1.2 million euros in annual savings. So tell me, Marwan, you've made remarkable savings just by better data management and merchandising management. How did you do this?
Absolutely. Actually, we had like an aggressive sales plan before, and we had to change everything. And the guys in MEDTEST, they pointed out that this is a very important issue. And we had tackled this matter, and we brought it down from almost 14–15% of wasted products down to around 3% now.
So what does this mean in practical terms, that supermarkets are getting less product to begin with?
This is what I meant by aggressive sales plan. We were dumping into the supermarkets a lot of products just to get a higher sales figure. And this didn't prove to be a right decision because we had a huge amount of products that were wasted. So we brought down the numbers sold or displayed in supermarkets. We just put in supermarkets and shops and grocery stores, everything, the amount that is really needed. And we brought it down. 2% or 3% is the industry average. And now we are almost there.
Also, making bread takes a lot of water, and you've reduced your water use quite a bit. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, not only bread, also in the crisps factory, also because we have to wash the potatoes as well. And this is where we use a lot of water. And we have a reverse osmosis that supply the water for the whole factory. But reverse osmosis normally throw out, you dump like 40% of the water is rejected into the drain. Now, this reject water, we installed a second stage reverse osmosis, where we saved half of it. So now we are using like around 80–85% of the water, instead of using only 60%. And this is like around 24 cubic meters per day.
Wow. So what's next?
Next is diesel. In Lebanon we have a lot of power failures, and we are running on this during this power fair on generators. We have old generators. Now we are in the process of finalizing the deal to replace it with new generators, synchronized, where we can save a lot on diesel. The annual saving expected on this will be around 100,000 euros.
So will you reach that 1.2 million euros in savings?
We will, but not now, because we have many stages, many phases, let's say, in this investment or process or something like that. Because the other one, the one which will come next, is the energy consumption, where we can save a lot on oil heating and the Fantasia chips frying.
That's great. Well, congratulations on all of that. Thank you, Marwan.
Thank you very much.
And well, back to you, Nick.
Thank you, Amy. And now we're going to meet with Benani Zuhair of the Pif Textile Company from Morocco, which makes a whole bunch of industrial furnishings, if you will, things like flame retardant curtains. And it has managed to cut its energy consumption by 82%, which of course we can see there, or some 378,000 euros in its project. So, Mr. Zuhair, on va se parler français, and I'll translate. You were telling me that competition from China and Turkey helped you realize that going the med test route would be a way to maybe compete better.
Bien sûr, dernièrement, la concurrence est devenue vraiment très accrue avec la concurrence de l'Asie et de la Turquie. Donc, c'est pour cela qu'on a adopté des mesures qui sont instaurées par MedTest, du fait qu'il attaque directement les charges lourdes de l'entreprise, donc en l'occurrence l'énergie et les matières d'exploitation. Donc, nous avons commencé premièrement par définir l'objectif, qui était de s'aligner au prix du marché international. Donc pour pouvoir faire ça, il faut faire des mesures. Donc à l'aide de mes tests, nous avons travaillé avec l'outil MFCA qui nous a permis de faire des diagnostics et définir des priorités. Des priorités pour pouvoir économiser et calculer des pourcentages à réduire.
I'm just going to translate because I can't remember if you say the very interesting point. So yes, Chinese pressure, Turkish pressure. The only way to survive is, of course, to align yourself with the market prices. Otherwise, well, you know what happens to companies that don't compete. So MedTest was indispensable in that regard, some practices. And you mentioned there was a word in French I didn't
Material flow cost accounting.
Material cost flow accounting. That's, thank you, which is something that is common to a lot of these companies, watching how much things cost through every step of the assembly line. Is that right? And do you have any other, MedTest inspired projects for the future?
So for the future, pour pouvoir économiser et arriver à 82%, donc il y a d'autres projets qui sont vraiment intéressants, tels que le photovoltaïque. Il y a aussi le photovoltaïque. Donc, c'est-à-dire pouvoir économiser 40% de l'énergie électrique. Il y a d'autres projets, c'est en fait la mise à niveau technologique de quelques machines, c'est-à-dire au niveau de la teinture, qui vont nous permettre de réduire la consommation de l'eau et la consommation d'électricité.
Thank you very much. Very briefly for that, Mr. Zuhair. So big plans for the future are solar power, which of course, is in a large supply in Morocco, and a shift to new technological machines which allow them to improve their performance further. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Back to you, Amy.
So now I'm here with Mohamed Harizi from Abco in Tunisia. Their brand, Sidi Daoud, is known for canned fish. Tuna, sardines, anchovies, mackerel, all those fish that are good for your heart. His company was looking for help with wastewater treatment, and with the local test experts, they learned about an eco-innovative technology that can help them save 85,000 euros a year and avoid 67 tons of raw material loss. We're going to speak in French. Mr. Harizi, tell me first about this eco-innovative solution that you found.
Oui, c'est un moyen de décongélation des sardines par humidification, parce qu'avant nous avons un problème, c'est le temps long de décongélation qui se fait dans une chambre froide, à 4 degrés et pendant 1 à 2 journées. C'est une perte de temps. En plus, maintenant, on a amélioré en plus la qualité du produit, la qualité du fraîcheur du produit. Et donc, on a un gain double, une meilleure qualité avec une économie mesurée jusqu'à maintenant à 13 000 € pendant 4 mois de consommation énergétique de la chambre froide.
So briefly, they've come up with a better way to thaw their frozen sardines. Before it was in a cold chamber, and now they're doing it, if I remember you telling me, it's by a process of pulverization?
Now, yes.
Yes, okay. Yes. Ah, I speak English. So instead of leaving the fish for 2 days in a cold chamber, they pulverize it with water. And what are the numbers? You are doubling, it's twice as fast and with a great savings in energy.
On est passé de 36 heures à 2 heures et demie.
So they've gone from 36 hours to 2.5 hours, which is a big economy. And then there was another advantage. You found yourself with another raw material to sell by using this process.
Exactement, nous avons gagné en poids, bien sûr, en matière sèche. C'est-à-dire, on peut économiser environ de 100-150 kilos de produits finis par jour. Et en plus, c'est une amélioration de la charge de l'eau qui est véhiculée vers la station d'opération. Donc, c'est un gain environnemental en plus.
So they are saving 150, what did you say, gain is kilos in material savings. But also, didn't you talk to me about an oil that you're selling? That's another new byproduct. The oil of the fish oil that you're now selling as a secondary matière première.
L'huile de poisson, vous voulez parler? Exactement. Maintenant, parce que nous avons une station de transformation des sous-produits de poisson, c'est-à-dire pour un problème environnemental, nous avons conçu cette station pour la transformation des déchets de poisson en farine de poisson. En parallèle, nous avons mis en place une station de production d'huile de poisson, c'est-à-dire un séparateur pour récupérer l'huile de poisson. Maintenant, suite à l'idée de M. Martin, toute l'eau de cuisson de thon, elle est transférée vers le séparateur et nous récupérons l'huile de poisson de cette eau-là. Donc, on n'a pas encore vendu l'huile parce qu'il reste quelques problèmes de qualité à régler. Nous avons récupéré environ 2 tonnes, 2000 kg d'huile durant la période d'été. Mais ce qu'on a remarqué, c'est la diminution de la charge organique, la DCO de l'eau, de 15%.
So with the help of the experts, they're recuperating a lot of fish oil, 2 tons of fish oil that they will soon be able to sell as well, and also reducing their energy consumption. So thank you very much, Mohamed from ABCO, and Nick, back to you.
Thank you, Amy, and we're taking you to Tunisia now with Ramzi El-Bethamem, who is with the Maklada company, and it draws steel into wire. And it's a market leader in the region and it exports around the world. And it has cut back on its production of sulfuric acid by, I have the number here, by 177 tons, which is a lot of acid. It saved over 400,000 euros in doing so. Mr. El-Bethamem is here to explain how it all happened. Comment est-ce que vous avez fait pour faire ces changements dans l'entreprise dans le cadre de MedTest?
L'entreprise a trouvé des solutions pour réduire la consommation de ces acides. Elle a modifié son processus de production de façon à ce qu'il consomme moins d'acide.
So you found ways of using less acid. Comment est-ce que le MedTest vous aurait aidé dans ces découvertes?
Nous avons aidé cette entreprise à travers le changement du processus de production. Donc, on l'a conseillé pour trouver de nouvelles solutions pour travailler avec moins d'acide.
So just to be clear, Ramzi was advising the Maklada company in how to do these things. And what is next for Maklada? Are there plans?
Maklada also reduced the consumption of energy, and they are working to reduce more their consumption of energy.
So is this another solar power story, as often is the case in North Africa?
They are working to reduce other products, but they are not clear.
So just consume less, step one, and then think of, okay, thank you very much. That was Ramsey from the Maklada Steel Wire Production Company. Back to you, Amy.
So, Nick, at the same time as MedTest 2, UNIDO conducted a series of PEF studies. That stands for Product Environmental Footprint, where they look at the impact of a product throughout its entire life cycle. So they conducted these studies on different products in Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, and Lebanon. Now I'm here with Charbel El Fakri, who represents a wine cooperative in the Bekaa Valley of Lebanon. It was created to replace fields of cannabis, actually, back in 1999, since wine has the advantage of being legal. Mr. El Fakri and another farmer decided to make their own wine from the grapes that they were growing. And so PEF experts studied a fair trade wine they produced in 2014 called Coteau les Cèdres, which we have here, if you want to show us.
Sure. Here is the Coteau les Cèdres 2014. That is the first Lebanese wine to be fair trade certified.
And then next to it, you have your own wine.
Yes, this is the private selection, so it's the Couvent Rouge, the wine we produce at the winery. So it's a literal translation. It's the name of the village, actually, which is Deir al-Ahmar in Arabic.
So, Charbel, I know that you built this winery with a lot of respect for the environment. It's organic. Why was it important for you to do this PEF study?
Well, first to be evaluated by professionals. It was very important for us. And also to be able to build bridges between the Middle East and Europe. So it was a very important study for us.
By building bridges, you're talking about also opening up the export market, yes?
Of course.
Tell me a bit about that. Why is it important?
Well, because the wine culture in our area of the world is not very developed yet, unfortunately. So we really target European market because there the wine culture is much more developed, and we really want to prove to the world that Lebanon is a wine-producing country. So.
And what did the study show you that you didn't know yet?
Well, we didn't know yet. Actually, it was really something that started. How to say? They opened our eyes on little things that originally maybe you wouldn't consider, but then when you see numbers, you see figures, you understand the difference. Like, for example, we were using 600 grams bottles. They told us that by reducing not more than 20% on the weight of the bottle, we would be reducing on different aspects from the production of the bottle to the end life of the bottle. So the next order we did was 450 grams bottle the next day. So we started applying, and we can see directly a difference. And also it opened us to implement new initiatives like reusing the bottles, recycling them, giving them a second life, and so on.
You also were looking at water, and they helped you a little bit with your water studies.
Of course. Well, we were cautious on our water because we are a very dry area, but their studies showed us as well by implementing a goutte-à-goutte irrigation system on the vineyards, how much it will improve on our usage of water. And as well, inside of the winery, there's a lot of water that is wasted. So we are implementing an initiative to recycle that water and to irrigate the plantations around it.
Well, Charbel, I'm very much looking forward to tasting this wine once this is over. Thank you for joining us.
Great. Thank you very much.
Nick, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Amy. And I am in Egypt now, and I'm going to talk to you about plastics. With the biggest bottle-to-bottle recycler in the region, the Barik company, and I'm here with Mohammed Gamal El-Din. Thank you for being with us. He said an 88% drop in water consumption is on the books, and nearly €1 million in annual savings. Can you tell us, sorry, what do you actually make, And how did you do those savings? Can you show us what you make?
Actually, Barik is into a bottle-to-bottle industry. We are dealing with the post-consumer PET plastic bottles. We are transforming about 1.6 billion plastic bottles a year into a PET resin. First, we convert the bottles into these flakes. This is 12 millimeter flakes, clear PET. Does not include any kind of contamination, any kind of color PET, and then we upgrade these flakes into the recycled PET resin, this one, and this is be used for the other preform manufacturers who can use it once again for making another bottle once again and give another life to the bottle.
How did MedTest make you make this better?
Actually, the main challenges in the recycling industry is the fluctuation of the feedstock of the raw material. There is a lot of contamination, which needs a lot of detergent and water consumptions. And they helped us through one of the industry experts who visited us for 3 days in Egypt. He went through all the stages of the line and he measured all our KPIs and benchmarked it to the other industries. And we came up with many projects that will enable us to first do the proper sorting for the raw materials, eliminate all the oil bottles out of the water bottles, which needs more consumption of oil and more consumption of detergents and soda. We bought a trommel at the beginning of the line, which remove all the dirts dry without the use of water, which reduce the water amount in the line itself. That's it.
Well, I guess one of the big concepts here is circularity and the virtuous circle. And there's a little one in this room between you and someone we just talked to, Sami Awad, who, right? Can you tell me about that? Who's making the plastic bottle tops?
Sure. Actually, ASAP is one of the biggest manufacturers in Egypt for the preform. They are doing bottles and we are doing food containers. And they used to use a virgin PET materials. They are imported from outside of Egypt. And through the projects we meet each others. And one of their initiatives for doing some savings is using a recycling PET from a local suppliers rather than importing a virgin from outside. So we start talking to each other. We did a lot of discussions. A lot of these discussions is mainly technical discussions, because mixing between the virgin and the recycled PET needs some trials and some calculations. Also needs some modifications in his mixing stages and some adjustment in his process as well. And we are in these stages. We are about to conclude something very soon.
You're hopeful it's doable. Like when there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. It's doable for sure, because we are exporting actually all our products to preform manufacturers in Europe and US, and so it's easy to sell it in Egypt as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That was Mohammed Gamal El-Din from Barik. And back to you, Amy.
So, Nick, I'm here with Camille Scaf, who works with his family-owned company, Scaf Dairy Farm in Lebanon. They own a farm in the Bekaa Valley where they raise cows and make products for local markets, such as milk, cheese, labneh, yogurt. And with the local test experts, Scaf Dairy Farm came up with a 44% reduction in energy use and 39,000 euros in annual projected savings. Camille, first of all, how many cows do you have on this farm?
We have 250 cows.
Why did you decide to take part in this project?
We decided to make, because we are a new factory. It was installed in 2014. And we found that our cost is very high, and especially in energy cost. And we enter in different projects, and we didn't succeed to have results. And when the experts come to propose something for us to save source energy, we directly decide because of the high cost of our products, of our process.
So what kinds of measures have you undertaken?
The first step was to put meters to control the water and the electricity and the diesel consumption. And the result of the lecture of these meters let us take hard decisions directly to change directly the system in the factory. And we stopped generators. We stopped because in the beginning we had 2 boilers. We directly stopped 1 boiler. And we changed the process of producing cheese because it was in traditional way, it cost us a lot of energy. And the result of this intervention was a changing management. And this changing of management, and because of the project SwitchMed, we changed also the CIP cleaning in the factory, which was a high cost also, and which pollute the environmental. And we can say also that the direction in the factory and the way of working in the factory changed in a way that we worked in the beginning and at plenty time. Now we save 4 or 5 hours of working a day.
So did this experience live up to your expectations?
A lot of expectation, especially we can, because we are a new factory, and we are selling in not in all Lebanon. Now we can easily work more with less money, and with the same stuff in the factory.
Great. Thank you so much, Kevin Scaff from Scaff Dairy Farm. And back to you, Nick.
Thank you, Amy. And we're now in Tunisia with a leather-making company called Noel. And the man who is behind the implementation of MedTest is here with me, Amarat Sadem. Merci d'être là avec nous. You have cut solid waste by 60% and put to use 55 tons of leather that was just sitting there doing nothing. Donc je vais vous formuler la question en français. Vous m'avez dit que vous avez réussi à rentabiliser votre stock. Comment vous avez fait? You told me you managed to use your stock that was sitting there somehow. What did you do?
En effet, donc, nous produisons des chaussures pour enfants et nous utilisons pas mal de coloris et pas mal de variétés de cuir. Et nos approvisionnements, ils sont faits donc au lot. Et donc on fait énormément de stocks chaque saison. Donc, le stock a été revalorisé par donc, une nouvelle technologie. On prend les anciens cuirs, on les fait donc avec une impression, d'autres impressions, pour que donc ça donne des cuirs à la mode et qu'on peut consommer dans d'autres saisons.
I'm just going to translate that because if it gets too much over. So the Noel company makes children's shoes, and cutting the leather is very important. There was a lot of old stock, and what they have is a new machine that allows them to imprint different patterns on it, which allows you to sell, once again, leather that would have been wasted, I guess.
Donc pour tout ce qui est donc cuir aussi, donc on a travaillé beaucoup sur les déchets des cuirs, et donc nous on génère plus que 18% des produits sortis non produits, donc des déchets qu'on met à la benne avant. Donc on a essayé de récupérer tous ces cuirs-là et on a essayé de les broyer et de les malaxer avec d'autres produits, et on a créé d'autres produits qui s'appellent donc le sender. C'est des produits qui sont faits pour donc les revêtements des sols et qui sont donc utilisés pour les semelles, et donc on le met entre donc c'est des supports qui sont donc à base de cuir déchet. Donc
Okay, I'm going to just translate. Merci, je vais juste traduire. That was a really interesting idea. So when you cut a leather, they don't come in squares. 18% is wasted. What they're doing at Noel is they're repurposing that technically wasted leather, mixing it up with other stuff and making things like shoe soles or surfaces, products that you can use to cover a floor. Just looking forward to the future. Last question, you talked to me about a tool, a cutting tool, emporte-pièce, that has changed things for you. Tell me about that.
Donc, nous, on coupe les cuirs avec des cutting tools, les emporte-pièces. Donc, et dans l'industrie de la chaussure, donc, on a différentes pointures et différentes pièces. Donc, on consomme énormément, pratiquement plus que 30 tonnes d'emporte-pièces par an. Donc, ces emporte-pièces, ils sont plus renouvelables parce que, donc, selon le monde, ces pièces, ils sont donc renouvelées. On est obligé de les mettre à la benne ou bien à les recycler. Donc, avec les nouvelles technologies, c'est donc d'utiliser des machines de découpe automatiques, d'accord? Ce qui nous évite non seulement la production des emporte-pièces, mais aussi tout ce qui est processus des engages. Nous, donc, les outils, on les traite, on fait des traitements de surface et on consomme de l'eau et on consomme des produits chimiques. Toutes ces consommations-là, donc, on va les éviter avec le nouveau processus
La découpe est plus rationalisée et plus, c'est informatisé.
C'est informatisé, tout est informatisé, donc à base donc c'est optimiser pratiquement tout le process. Donc on a travaillé beaucoup sur le changement de process avec MedTest 2.
I'm going to try to translate this last answer. So, typically, when you're making kids' shoes, there are things like a cookie cutter, emporte-pièce. You cut a cutting tool, you cut, yeah. So, yeah, and then you don't use them after a while. And now there's a new machine that allows you you keep the machine and you can change the designs. Is that right? And it also allows you to cut that piece of leather in a more rational manner, so less of it is thrown away. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Tadam from the Noel Shoe Company. Thank you. Thank you all. All right, Amy, back to you.
So, Nick, just a little while ago, I spoke with Charbel El Fakri, whose wine cooperative was the subject of a PEF study. Now I am with Dalia Nakra, who is one of Egypt's foremost experts in life cycle assessments. She conducted a 4-month PEF study of a leather company in Egypt called Peel Color. So Dalia, tell me a little bit about why this company wanted to have the PEF study done.
It's a tanning industry, and actually they already export, but they wanted to expand their export markets and go more into the European market. And they thought this was a very good approach, or to have not just a made in Egypt product, but as we say, the green product made in Egypt. So that's why they were very much interested to join the project.
And what kinds of recommendations did you give them?
Actually, when we did the inventory and the assessment, it was about their water consumption, because not per se just because of the amount of water that they're consuming, but because it's in Egypt, and Egypt is now suffering from high water stress. So when we conducted the life cycle assessment, it gave like a high weight for the water consumption. So this was one point. And also some of the chemicals, because it's a chrome tanning business. So definitely about the chemicals that they're using, that they could reduce some of these chemicals.
So PEF studies are new in your part of the world. Tell me about some of the challenges that you came across while doing this.
Basically, it's about the data collection. Making this inventory and making sure all the data is there. When you're working with the industry, they don't want to give you the recipe per se in terms of what they're using and how much they're using. But when they understand the impact that the accuracy of this data that they're providing is important, then they start actually cooperating in a better way. And of course, some of the data is not within their domain, like the upstream activities, which goes back to the cattle raising and the slaughtering. And we had to use like default data for this stage.
Do you think they were happy with the results, with what they learned?
I think they were, and they were happy that we went through a complete audit and identified all like their consumption and wastes and emissions. So that was also very beneficial to them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dalia, who obviously it's not food. Dalia is our sole non-food person in the room, but the PEF study. Thank you, and back to you, Nick.
It's back to us. Apologies. We're now in Israel and we're actually trying to clean up some plastic, which is precisely what you...
This is precisely what we did in the project. Yes. With this project, we went to the production floor and we saw how much material is literally sitting on the floor. And we identified the spots where this material is falling down, and we just block this point and collect the material from the floor.
Okay, so this is, of course, Rana Shivek from the Kafrit company. What we were trying to show, planning to demonstrate for you is what happens when you have plastic that falls on the factory floor. It goes to waste. It's free stuff. All you need to do is, well, you don't sweep it up. You have a fancy machine, right?
We pick it up.
Yeah, you pick it up.
We basically prevent it from falling to the floor.
So it's just kind of housekeeping. 115,000 in project savings, euros?
It's not only that. We also invested a lot of money in handling the material from downloading it to the floor, uploading it to the silo, and putting it to the production process. We invest in automation, in blocking all the small spots where the material were falling apart, falling from the process. Yeah. And together with the advisors from the METEST, we pinpoint this and handle it.
You were telling me when we talked before the other day about real-time energy monitoring systems, I think. Real-time monitoring systems, sorry. What is that?
We had only main energy monitor for the plant, and it was very difficult to identify where the energy losses we have in the process. So we installed 45 monitors in the production process in the 2 factories that we have. And with that, we managed to reduce a lot of energy cost, energy saving, and everything.
And do you have any more sort of MedTest-inspired projects for the future?
We are actually now investing and working in automatic big bag opening system to reduce the spillage in the process and reduce manpower and so on. And we have a lot of small projects. Not all of them are big and interesting, but with this small project we can get a lot of saving in the process.
Okay, thank you very much. That was Rana Shivek of the Kafrit company. Amy, I'm just going to clean up some of the plastic I spilled here and hand over to you.
So, Nick, we're still in Egypt. I'm with Mohamed Fayad of Farm Freet, which is part of a large international group. In Egypt, they have 10,000 acres of land where they grow potatoes and make semi-frozen French fries, which they sell on the retail market as well as to major clients such as McDonald's and KFC. So the company has long focused on resource efficiency, but the local test team helped them to go further, investing 13,000 euros for an annual savings of 115,000 euros, which is a pretty good deal. It's a 40-day return on investment. So, Mohammed, tell me, how did you achieve these impressive savings?
For sure, indeed, that was very impressive results out of the project. Of course, that was very challenging. We have been focusing on resource efficiency, how to use our resources in an efficient way at a very cost-effective manner. And it was very clear from our management that resource efficiency is highlighted in bold, that it's a very important aspect that we need to focus on, and it's already set in our yearly objectives in Farm Freets, and it's tackled in our KPIs, yearly KPIs.
You have a particular reason in Egypt for focusing on resource efficiency. It's the economy. Can you tell me a bit about that?
For sure, this is one side, and the other side is that resource efficiency is one of the main objectives within Farm Freets group, that we need to focus heavily and deeply on minimizing our resources and to be producing in a very effective and efficient way. This is one side, and the other side is that inflation in Egypt is going very rapid, and in order to cope with this inflation, we should put our hands more and focus more on how to do savings in the area of energy and water.
Can you tell me about some of the specific measures that you took?
Yes, water management is mainly one of our biggest achievements. We created a very clear strategy with a very clear approach to be used throughout the project, which is reduce, reuse, eliminate. How did we do that? We started by doing an inventory in the whole factory. We started to recognize what's going in and what's going out, and out of this audit, we came up with a list of actions and potential projects. And at the end, we see the savings out of this.
That's great. Thank you for joining us, Mohamed Fayed of Farm Freet in Egypt.
It's always a pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Amy. And I am now in Tunisia with two women who helped the new Amico company, which makes jeans. So I'm joined by Manel Ben Saïda, thank you, merci d'être là, and Dalila Ben Yahya, merci aussi, on va parler français. Firm makes jeans. Jeans is a super intensive water-consuming process, but they've managed to cut their water consumption by around half, which is, c'est beaucoup quand même, no? So they've made changes which have brought them around 360,000 euros in annual savings. That's the project anyway. So maybe I'll just start with Dalila. If you can tell me about just the MedTest experience or process at New Amico. What do you know about it?
Oui, il n'y a pas de problème. Donc, en fait, le projet a permis à l'entreprise d'économiser environ 366 000 euros. Donc, c'est pas peu. C'est une entreprise qui fait partie d'un groupe et qui emploie vers les 1045 employés. Donc, elle a déjà une démarche dans tout ce qui est certification 14001, 9001, SA 8000. Donc, elle est dès le début dans cette démarche environnementale, sociale, énergétique. Et avec le projet, elle a économisé en énergie, en eau, en produits chimiques. Donc, d'accord.
No, but c'est super. Okay, I'll just give a quick summary. It's a larger company, 45 employees, and they've undertaken these measures that have brought about the savings we talked about in a number of different domains. Energy in particular, and water consumption as we mentioned. And maybe, Didier, can I ask you a question? Do you know anything about how this works for clients? Like, do you sell jeans better if you can say, hey, we didn't destroy the environment, or we used less water?
Bien sûr, la production s'en trouve nettement améliorée, mais surtout, je pense que c'est la démonstration que véritablement conduire une production propre, respectueuse de l'environnement, c'est rentable. Donc c'est tout à fait compatible avec une logique d'entreprise qui vise justement à la pérennité de son entreprise, respectueuse de son environnement et surtout qui constitue à moyen terme et à long terme une vitrine de la dynamique régionale mais également nationale.
Okay. I'm going to have to break that. That was a great answer. I'm not sure I can do it justice in my translation, but the idea was the company has proved that you can make money while saving the environment, and that the long-term life of the company is not in any way threatened by taking these measures, and that it has to fit into part of a larger regional dynamic of this kind of initiative of producing in a green manner. And I think that's about all. Yeah, we had to say. And nationally. Okay, thank you. National and regional. Thank you, ladies. Back to you, Amy.
Okay, so we're back. I'm here with Sofiane Benguergoura, who is one of the local experts in Algeria for the MedTest 2 project. He's going to talk to us about Jipat, who is a maker of couscous and pasta under the Extra brand. Jipat's high-tech factory line can produce 1,200 grams of couscous an hour and 1,700 kilograms that is, of short pasta every hour. That's a lot of pasta. The MedTest experts helped GPAT to identify more than 85,000 euros in annual savings and reduce energy consumption by 16%. Sofiane is going to speak to me in French. Tell me, first of all, what recommendations were made to GPAT?
Très bien. Donc, pour GPAT, nous avons proposé 21 mesures d'économie d'énergie, d'économie de matières premières, de matériaux d'emballage et aussi des mesures pour augmenter la productivité. Alors, sur le plan énergie, donc, nous avons proposé une série de mesures, notamment l'installation de batteries de compensation du courant réactif, par exemple la réduction de la pression dans les circuits vapeur, la réduction de la pression de 8 bars à 3 bars, parce que 3 bars était suffisant pour le processus de fabrication. Et aussi, nous avons proposé une autre mesure d'améliorer le rendement de combustion dans les chaudières en analysant les fumées de combustion et en apportant les réglages nécessaires au niveau des brûleurs.
I'm going to stop you here because I'll do a quick translation. The local text experts proposed 21 measures in water, energy, and more. In energy, they proposed reactive current compensation batteries, which would increase efficiency. They proposed reducing pressure in the steam pipes because they didn't need to use as much pressure as they were using, so down to 3 bars. And they also proposed better usage of the steam boilers.
Efficiency of boilers.
The efficiency of the boilers. You managed to get 16% economy in energy that way. Okay. So can you just tell me also, you had took another measure to improve productivity through data, through software. Tell me about that.
Ok, très bien. Donc pour augmenter la productivité, nous avons proposé pour l'entreprise l'utilisation d'un logiciel d'analyse statistique. Donc actuellement, GPAT fait beaucoup d'analyse de matières premières, d'analyse de produits finis, elle fait beaucoup de suivi de données de production, de paramètres de production, mais toutes ces informations sont corrélées selon le savoir-faire du conducteur du process. Alors, l'analyse statistique vient en soutien du conducteur du process en lui apportant une donnée plus fiable qui corrèle entre la qualité des intrants, la qualité des sortants et aussi entre les paramètres de production, ce qui lui permet d'éviter les erreurs de réglage. Et bien sûr, toute erreur de réglage peut entraîner un recyclage de produits et des produits non conformes, donc une baisse de productivité.
Okay, so in a nutshell, what Sofiane is telling me is that the factory line worked a lot by savoir-faire. The people on the line sort of knew when the couscous was at a perfect humidity or whatever, and they introduced a software, a statistical analysis software, which now is a backup and gives them very precise figures about that, which is an added bonus, and it guides the producer, and it's making the whole process a lot more efficient. That's pretty much it, right? Thank you, Sofiane, for coming and speaking to us about GPAT in Algeria. And Nick, with that, I'm back to you.
Okay, thank you, Amy. And I am standing here with Mr. Abdelhamid El Hashem of Afrique Cable, which is a battery recycler in Morocco. Welcome. The company has saved a lot of money, €500,000 in annual project savings. That's the project, with 4,500 megawatts of energy savings. Can you just tell me about the visit of the MedTest people and how they helped you undertake the new measures?
Yes. Juste avant d'introduire au projet MedTest, donc Afrique Cable, c'est une société marocaine qui opère dans l'industrie avec 2 activités. C'est les batteries sous la marque Electra et les câbles téléphoniques. Donc nous avons adhéré au projet MedTest en fin 2015 et nous avons adopté la démarche MFCA qui nous a permis de sortir avec 2 éléments. C'est l'énergie qui représente plus que 50% de sorties produits non produits et 21% presque de rejet matière. Exactement.
je vais juste traduire parce que c'est beaucoup. Donc, there are two main activities of the company. One of them is battery production. The other one is phone cables. And in 2015, there was a visit from the med test people, and you realized that energy wastage, let's say, there was too much energy was being wasted. And then the other question was, what do you do with the raw materials or the actual ingredients that could be used more effectively?
Yes. Donc les mesures que nous avons prises suite à la MFCA, c'est de réduire le coût d'énergie. Donc via des mesures très importantes que nous avons faites, surtout au niveau de l'éclairage. Nous avons changé l'éclairage traditionnel par l'éclairage à LED qui consomme moins d'énergie. Et aussi, donc, comme vous savez, pour les batteries, c'est des batteries chargées à l'électricité, donc qui bouffent assez d'énergie. Nous avons investi dans les panneaux solaires avec un investissement exactement qui va avoir un retour sur investissement au bout de 3 ans. Donc là.
Je vais juste traduire. This is really interesting. So, two electricity light-related things. One of them is the replacement of the regular incandescent or fluorescent lights with LED lights, which of course are much less energy consuming. And then something about the technology of batteries. Of course, to have a battery that works, you have to charge it. And what do you need for that? You need electricity. So does that come from burning coal? Well, it could, unless you use solar panels. So that's the project. Now, use solar panels to charge up those batteries so you can put them back on the market. Is that right?
Of course, yeah. Donc, comme un impact environnemental, nous sommes arrivés à réduire la consommation d'eau à 450 mètres cubes par an. Et nous avons pu réduire la consommation d'énergie à 4500 mégawatts. Et comme empreinte carbone, nous avons pu éviter une consommation de 2000 tonnes CO2.
Okay, well that's a number that I haven't put out. We talked about the energy savings, but 2 million tons of CO2, 2 million tons that did not take place because of the measures that you...
450 cubic meter for water. And also, nous avons été choisis par METES pour la représentation à économie circulaire en 2017 en Finlande. C'est pour la création, nous avons créé une étude de recyclage des batteries usagées. On arrive à recycler presque 98% de notre batterie usagée. Donc nous avons une capacité de 10 000 tonnes à traiter par an. Nous traitons presque 6 000 tonnes de plomb qu'on réutilise dans notre usine de batterie. Et nous arrivons à traiter 3 000 tonnes d'acide sulfurique via la neutralisation. Et nous obtenons encore de l'eau propre que nous réutilisons encore une fois. Et nous arrivons aussi à produire 500 tonnes de plastique qu'on réutilise dans notre injection de box.
Okay, I'm not going to pretend to be able to remember and translate all those numbers, but they were very. I think it's suffice to say that you were selected to be part of the ongoing sort of model med test company because of the measures that you're taking. So thank you very much for sharing your experience with us. Thank you. All right, back to you, Amy.
So, Nick, I'm with Mohamed Tahar Boukalal, whose family company in Algeria processes dates, and notably the Douglet Noor variety, which is known as the queen of all dates because of its delicious honey-like flavor. You might know their trademark product, which is called Prestige Date. Boukalal produces 5,000 tons of dates a year for export to Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Local test experts helped Boukalal to identify 62,000 euros in annual savings and a possible reduced water consumption of 80%, which is a lot of savings. So, Mohamed Tahar, bonjour. That's a big water savings you're looking at. C'est une grosse économie d'eau. Could you tell me how you're planning to do this? Comment est-ce que vous allez atteindre cette économie d'eau?
Bonjour à tous. L'économie est le principal stratégique de l'entreprise, l'économie des ressources concernant, et le principal stratégique de l'entreprise, l'économie de l'eau, l'économie de la matière première et l'économie de l'énergie. Traitement et conditionnement des dates, ça demande une quantité énorme de l'eau. C'est pour ça qu'on a, avec le programme Metesto, Deux, on a économisé 20% de l'eau sans aucun investissement. Uniquement l'eau utilisée, on a transformé en l'eau pour l'irrigation des places vertes, etc. Mais avec un certain investissement, on peut arriver à l'économie de 80% de l'eau. C'est ça. Voilà.
So what he's saying is that without spending a penny, they just used the water that was being used to wash the dates and have started recycling it. To use, you've been recycling it, and you've reached 20% savings in water just by recycling this water that you used to throw away. You've also increased your productivity. Donc, parlez un petit peu de votre productivité. Comment ça aussi, ça s'est amélioré?
Concernant aussi l'économie des ressources et la matière première, en parlant de ça, en matière des dates, il y a un troisième choix, les dates de déchets, on peut dire ça. On a mis une ligne sophistiquée d'extraction de miel de dates et on a économisé une quantité énorme des dates à ajouter.
So with sophisticated equipment that they use, they can extract from the dates a pretty good quantity of honey, which then they use as a second product that they sell in addition to the dates. So, so you're on the road to, vous êtes sur la route de beaucoup d'économies en énergie et plus de productivité, 2-in-1. Thank you, Mohamed Taha, for coming from Bukalal Dates.
Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you very much.
And back to you, Nick.
Merci.
Thank you, Amy. And I am back in Morocco with a detergent maker and a project manager, Younes Abrash, who helped them adopt the med test parameters and lessons. And what they have managed to do at EMA is an 800,000 euro savings with a 75-day investment, I think it was, all while taking on a multinational giant. There's an interesting story that we'll get to. We're going to talk French. Can you tell me basically what steps were taken at AMA because of MedTest?
Ok, suite à la visite de l'équipe MedTest et à l'application de l'outil MFCA, nous avons réalisé plusieurs projets. Les trois plus grands projets donc, sont le basculement du propane vers le butane, la mise en place et l'installation d'un système de dépoussiérage pour la récupération et le recyclage des particules fines. Et le troisième projet, c'est l'optimisation des paramètres de la tour de séchage qui nous a permis une optimisation de la consommation d'énergie.
Do you have any more projects for the future, or do you know of more projects at AMA regarding within the MedTest framework?
Nous avons un projet d'installation de panneaux solaires qui va nous permettre à terme une réduction de la facture énergétique de 15 000 euros par mois. Et nous avons un deuxième projet qui consiste en l'installation d'un système de récupération d'énergie en haut de la tour de séchage qui va nous permettre en conséquence une récupération d'énergie.
Est-ce que je peux me permettre de raconter l'histoire de... Je vais le faire à votre place. So I know a story because I talked to the boss of AMA and he shouldn't tell it because it's a good story, but basically AMA used to just provide the raw materials for soaps and detergents, and he dealt with a giant multinational company of household products who basically said to him one day, here's your price, take it or leave it. You have 15 minutes to decide. And he decided that what he was going to do was leave it and take their market share. And that's how they started. So anyway, it's a David versus Goliath story, and that's part of the AMA story. And I think the way they've adopted MedTest technology shows that kind of, I don't want to say bloody-mindedness, but their enterprising attitude. Wouldn't you say? Okay, thank you very much for... Okay, merci. Back to you, Amy.
So now I'm with Tawfiq Oda, who comes from Palestine, from a company called Signora. Signora is a century-old company making high-quality deli meats. So, for example, salami, mortadella, sausages. And around 20 years ago, the Arab Palestinian investment company acquired Signora and invested in advanced technology, which then helped to make it the region's leading cold cut and canned meat manufacturer. So working with MedTest 2, Signora identified 105,000 euros in annual savings. Tafik, how did the local test team help you identify places where you could be more resource efficient?
Yes, as we are working according to our company target to keep the resource efficiency and to keep the resources for the community, our company target to work this. According to this. So in 2014, we are achieving ISO 14000 and we are continue working to increase the saving in the resources. So during this project and the international expert and local expert, they are coming to the company, they found something new to implement, like saving in water, as it is one of the major issues in the Palestine is the scarcity of the water. So we are working with different technique by using different technique without investment to reduce the water consumption and after cooking of the product we are using around 60 cubic meter per day. We are reducing to 50% of this consumption and around 25% from the total consumption by using or adding air technique to reduce the temperature of the product without increasing the investment. Other type of investment we are benefit from the international expert to use different technique for energy consumption by using low different technique for changing the temperature for the defrost time in the refrigerator units. In the winter and summer, we are also increasing the efficiency and reducing the consumption of the energy. Other parts, it's reducing the solid waste by replacing the single one by using carton boxes with plastic boxes, reusable plastic boxes, and we are saving around 17 tons per year of solid waste.
So you mentioned to me that your savings are greater than your investments. Is that true?
Yes, that's right. We are total investment around 72,000, and the total saving, as you look here, it is more than 100,000 euro per year.
Not a bad deal.
Yes. Also, you know, we are now thinking for the future as we implemented ISO 14000 to continue to work on this program by finding new resources to keep it and reduce the consumption of energy and water.
Well, thank you for joining us, Tafik Oda from Signora in Palestine.
Thank you.
Back to you, Nick.
Thank you, Amy. And, well, last but not least is Yvan Gravel, from the Fracmar Consultancy. Now, he's been working with a company that makes giant paper bags to contain cement that is called Cochepads, and it does other things as well, but that's one of the things that it does, that it's known for and that it's good at. And it's avoided a doubling of production losses, which in plain English means it saved around 350,000 euros. So I'm going to ask Mr. Gravel in French how he did it. Comment vous avez fait?
Je dirais d'abord pour un peu expliquer la démarche que Cochepa a eue. Donc nous, je connaissais déjà M. Madani Saïd depuis plusieurs années. Et là, au moment que MedTest a démarré, je lui ai dit, j'ai essayé de le convaincre, quoi. Je me suis dit, c'est important. Et il était plutôt réticent. Pour lui, non, il n'y a pas grand-chose à faire chez nous, etc. J'ai dit, ça ne coûte pas grand-chose, tu viens chez nous, il n'y a pas de problème, le MedTest, c'est bon. Donc non seulement il a accepté d'adhérer à MedTest, mais il est devenu notre point focal à l'intérieur, donc le monsieur MedTest à l'intérieur de la société. Et donc, lui, la première chose qui l'a vraiment intéressé, c'était le MFCA. Donc, vraiment, le MFCA, l'outil MFCA, c'est quelque chose pour lui qui a été vraiment une révélation.
Okay, I'm just going to start the translation. So, Mr. Gravel is a consultant and who went to the CEO of Cochipa and said, I've got this med test thing I'd like you to try. And he's like, I'm not really sure. I think things are okay now. And you managed to persuade him. And so some tests were undertaken, and he started to be won over. And then you mentioned there was some particular technology with an acronym. What was that?
I'm sorry?
There was a concept?
Ben, le concept, l'outil MFCA, donc le Material Flow Cost Accounting, qui permet effectivement, en tant que responsable, de voir un peu les enjeux, donc déterminer un petit peu les zones prioritaires. Et une fois que ça a été déterminé, donc on a compris à la fois que l'énergie, bien sûr, mais les pertes de production étaient quand même très importantes chez lui. Et de là, donc, on a pu effectivement préparer un ensemble de mesures qui lui ont permis de devenir une société parmi les meilleures du secteur.
Okay. So what that acronym was, and you've all heard it, I just hadn't heard it translated, is Material Cost Flow Accounting. I think you guys all know what that is. And that was really the key to success, seeing where money is being wasted, where resources are being wasted, and that was what allowed him to the CEO of Cochipa to get up to become a market leader. Now, what plans for the future?
Ben, le futur, donc il y a beaucoup de choses pour moi, bien sûr. Donc j'essaie de continuer à promouvoir l'approche test qui pour moi est vraiment la meilleure. Pour Cochipa, donc on va essayer de les accompagner. Il reste encore un certain nombre de mesures à réaliser. Et puis quand on voit sur l'ensemble des entreprises les toitures qui sont vides, le photovoltaïque est aussi une priorité chez la plupart des sociétés, et en particulier chez Cochipa. L'avantage, c'est qu'on a beaucoup de soleil au Maroc, et puis je pense qu'il faut vraiment en faire profiter au maximum les entreprises pour réduire leur consommation.
Okay, just a closing thought from Mr. Gravel when I asked him about what he thinks of the future in Morocco, and it was, I think, an interesting answer. He says when he sees all of these empty roofs, the rooftops with no solar cells, he sees the future of his work, because there need to be cells there. There's a lot of sun in Morocco, there's a lot of free electricity, there's a lot of ways to reduce your carbon footprint and save the environment. So I think that's what we're heading towards. So I wish you good luck with that, Mr. Gravel. Thank you very much. And back to you, Amy.
So, Nick, you're looking now at what I talked to you about earlier. I'm very excited about these. Choco Medjool. I'm here with Tarek Yacoub from Al Hijaz in Palestine. He makes chocolates, including these lovely looking things, which are medjool dates from Jericho with roasted almonds, all covered in premium chocolate. Yes, I'm really looking forward to tasting one. So the MedTest 2 project helped you to work on lowering water consumption by 45% and finding savings of 93,000 euros a year. So Tarek, tell me about the results, about your experience with MedTest 2.
Yes. First time I'm glad to be here in Barcelona with you. First time we told and knew about SwitchMed test and RECB concepts, we started to be convinced in its result and its value.
Do you want to go up?
The most important result is reservation, the resources and the environmental, and capable us to be making us to be more capable to compete in market, in global market and local market.
What were some of the challenges you had while taking their recommendations?
The obstacle is always associated first with the changing mindset, introducing new concepts. Also, obstacles are getting the data and gathering data that's never thought about before starting this project. Other obstacles, it's related to occupation, Israeli measure. It's about the Israeli aren't prohibit us to getting many licenses to improve project improvement in our company and our factory.
So what are your next, what are your next plans to reach your targets with MedTest?
The important point, this concept, it's become a culture in the factory. And we enter this culture in every planning in the factory. If we want to buy a machine or making any improvement, we calculate by RECB concepts.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Tariq Yacoub from Al Hijaz in Palestine, bringing his chocolates. And Nick, that wraps up the food.
Yes, it does, Amy. Thank you very much. And everybody, we've come to the end of the Innovation Bazaar. Everybody's too busy swapping stories and acting like it was a bazaar, which was the objective. So thank you very much. Thank you for coming and sharing all of your stories. We're glad that you came and shared them in person as well.
Yes, thank you. Merci, shukran. We want to be sure to thank the local test experts from UNIDO who were on the ground making all of this happen. And also, you'll see their friendly faces on the screen if you look. A lot of you will recognize them from working with them. And we'd also like to thank the people who made this possible here from UNIDO and the European Union. Nick, I think that wraps it up. There's a chocolate waiting for me.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you left me some chocolate.
I have one for you too.
Okay, next year I'd like us to rationalize our processes because,
you know, sometimes the workflow is perfect just as it is. Nick.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks to all.